Hello, I'm going to try to help you get started with Lab 5, which is recognizing geologic landforms. This lab will require a few things of you, and I'm going to try to make your life a lot simpler by explaining what to do with the lab form that I've provided, which is required to use, and to ask that you make your life simpler by following a few simple instructions. So I'm going to show you some good examples. I'm not saying the information they shared was spot on or accurate, but the layout of what they did was stellar from prior students. The first thing I want to address is when you are dealing with trying to put pictures into a document like a Word document, make your life easier. Whether you're using a Mac product like a MacBook or you're using something like a laptop or a PC, there are apps that are free and available, typically in your control panel, that will allow you to what I call snip and be able to just take for better lack of words, a screenshot of exactly what it is you want. So in this lab, that translates to how do you get your hand-drawn pictures into this lab form, and that's what I'm here to help you with. Let me caveat this by saying that you are free to draw these images using a computer program, but that is certainly not required. I actually prefer the hand-drawn ones to save you time, but some people may not be able to do that. They may have a hand disability or some other type of ADA situation that limits their ability, and I want to give you the option and freedom, should you choose to do it, or that's your strength maybe, to use a computer-generated image that you make. So this lab has 3 primary functions that you will be doing for a prescribed set of geologic landforms. And the idea is after you finish this lab, you have an understanding of the importance and differences of various geologic landforms / features, and that you can accurately describe how they are made and what they represent. 2 is you can find an accurate depiction of this landform by doing an internet search, or if you have your own photographic library from traveling, you could use those. And 3, to accurately sketch or computer generate a depiction of what you saw in the image. Now here's the deal. You have to assume that I am brand new to what you're sharing, that I've never seen these landforms before. While I am your instructor and I know what they are, sometimes I will get assignments where students will assume that I am going to make assumptions that they know what's going on. The whole point of an assignment is to convey to your instructor that you have mastered some skills and some knowledge base. So keep that in mind in all of your classes. When you present work, you're trying to convince your instructors that you understand the material. So don't assume anything. Convince them and erase all assumptions that they'll read into your work. So this is the actual form that I have with instructions. And let me come into the form. This is so important right here. So you're going to have a total of 10 features, and there are going to be required elements to address. So that goes over here in your feature description and orientation. I would ask that you try to answer them in a 1, 2, 3, 4 format, how many ever that I have there, right over here in the feature description, and that you be thorough in your description. Cutting and pasting from something like Wikipedia does not mean you've mastered it. In fact, students do that regularly and they wonder why their scores are low. Not only is that an academic integrity issue, there's a lot of wrong information out there. And I'll give you a heads up about that. You do a Wikipedia search or a Google search for the difference between a butte and a mesa, and you're going to think they're the same thing, but they're not. They're not both flat at the top. So that is a great example of being able to understand and articulate what you need to do. So getting to this feature photo and the sketch that you'll do of it, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to find one. So I'm going to open up And I'm just going to type in the very first item, which is meteor crater. And I'm going to find some images. And when you're using someone else's work, you need to give them credit. That's what plagiarism is all about, is making sure to prevent that from happening, is that you make sure you document their work. Well, this is meteor crater. And if you were to use this picture, I want to show you a really cool way to do it. So I'm going to do a quick search in my tool list, like in my control panel. Do you see where this thing shows for snipping tool? So I'm going to select that, and I already have something done here, but I want to show you that I have it also snipped right here. I bring that up. So I'm going to select new, and when I select new, I can come in here and I can snip this very thing right here and save it to my computer. Let me just call it Landform 1 Meteor Crater, and I'll save that. So here is your Word document. I just downloaded this from Brightspace. And if I was going to take that meteor crater item that I just copied right here, I could hit the paste or the copy button, put my mouse right there and hit paste. You can use a shortcut if you like, and then make it smaller. And come back up here and you'll see where it is. And then let's say I sketch that same thing, I can do a snip just like that and paste it over here. That's how you insert pictures into your document. So now that you've seen how to use the snipping tool, I just want to refresh your memory of where you can find it on your computer. Again, if it's a Mac product, snipping tool is not on that, but there are other screenshot features that you can use, because I have a MacBook as well as a Dell, and I use the different functions work exactly the same way. So once you've done that, you're going to come in here, and I've taken out the students' first names in these to show you two examples of an end product. So I'm not saying that these students did their descriptions right. In fact, I would say there's some material that probably needs to be refined in both of their descriptions. But what both did very well is you can see they put a picture in and they put an arrow to it to depict what that is. This person did a hand sketch, which was just incredible. And this one did a computer-generated sketch. So if you're spending a whole bunch of time making these sketches, let me tell you, you probably need to not invest a huge amount of time. It doesn't need to be a great work of art. Having said that, if you want to produce some really great work, and in addition to your descriptions, let's say your sketches are just remarkable, I have the right to increase your grade. So that is something really cool. One thing I would say about both of these people is they missed the mark on not providing image credits. In other words, they took these off the internet. They were not ones that they had taken themselves at Meteor Crater. They should provide a photo credit, and that is something you need to get in the habit of. Here is another one of the landforms, and I wanted to show you a bad example and a good example of how they documented their work. First of all, this is the composite volcano. Notice there are 4 items in the description. And one of the things I want to focus in on both the cinder cone and composite volcano is how many vents does it have? So you're going to find all kinds of numbers out there on the internet for Mount Rainier, which is this particular volcano. But then you miss the point if that's what you're trying to find the vents for Mount Rainier. It is about composite volcanoes. All composite volcanoes have multiple vents, while all cinder cones only have one. So if they have spatter cones, some folks on Wikipedia or Google searches might say, hey, that counts as a vent. It does not. So that's part of the elementary section of this lab that I'm wanting you to get back to. Sometimes students get lost in details and they just need to see the bigger picture of what I'm asking for. Notice that they have exactly the same picture. These are 2 different students for the photo, but how is this one different? It has an arrow pointing to the actual volcano. While that may seem obvious to you, I don't know if this is what you're talking about as a volcano or this one, because this one down here is not a composite volcano, but this one is. So you can see this person produced not a very difficult sketch at all. It's totally acceptable. This one didn't include any. This person right here produced just a little blurb. It wasn't enough. It didn't answer the 4 required elements for feature 3. And then you can see in this example, they didn't break it up into answering 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to encourage you to break it up and answer 1, 2, 3, 4. Be clear in your information. Now that you have the background of some of the do's and don'ts of this lab, how do you get started? The very first thing you should do is be looking at a reputable place for your information, which is not Wikipedia. While there's some great stuff there, keep in mind that the public can add and contribute to what's there. So it's all a matter of the perspective of the individuals who provided information. Instead, I would encourage you to use resources like United States Geologic Survey. They have a pictorial dictionary, for a better lack of words, encyclopedia of all of these different features. And again, don't cut and paste. Put things into your own words. Make sure I understand that you have done the work, that you understand the content. You're not just regurgitating, you're trying to apply this information. So if you were to see these features in nature, you would be able to recognize them and explain to someone with an intelligent conversation about how they form and what they represent, geologically speaking. That's all for now. So get ready, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work on geologic landforms. Bye.